If more of you supported the show, I'd be less sick of podcasts.
Blah, 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 blah.
Sending out good vibes.
Blah, blah, blah.
Good vibes.
Blah,
Good vibes.
blah, blah.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
108 breaths of deep gratitude and prayers for guidance and protection. And put on a didgeridoo and shamanic drumming track. Shivers or vibrations and stuff like that.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Graham Eric Show. Coming at you this week with Christopher Macklin, UFO guy. I don't know how it's one of those guys. It's weird we haven't crossed paths before. Over the last 13 years, he's been doing it forever. We've been doing it forever, but now we did cross paths, so it's a good chat. Of course, we got everybody's favorite podcaster, Graham Sing Along Dunlop. How's it going?
Sing along. What?
It's just what came to me.
That's good. That's good. Well, I went out for a drive just to sing along the other day. So,
And you're getting more and more into karaoke. You've come into your karaoke shell over the show.
yeah, but I mean, geez, that's just, once a year when we travel or something like that.
Well, if you did it more,
No,
Maybe
it's, you know what?
it's stiff.
I tried it at my sister's because she has it too, but the way the speakers are set up and stuff, it's really, really hard to do because your voice, it has to be the proper setup. It has to be like loud enough where you can really sing.
You got to go to a karaoke night or something. That's the only.
I bet you that. Yeah, I bet you it's better there. Yeah.
You need the crowd. You need the whole.
No, not the crowd.
You can't be in the basement doing karaoke by yourself. That's fucking crazy.
I never said that.
Well, I mean, okay, who was there?
Well, my family.
So you're just singing to your mom and your sister.
My mom got really upset. I was singing while we were playing a game, and she just got lost. And she was like, "I can't concentrate on this game with you guys singing." And,
So then you decided karaoke.
what?
So then you decided karaoke.
No, I just put it up, like down for a bit.
BC's probably got a great karaoke scene.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Japs over there. They'd love.
No. It's the Filipinos. I'm telling you, when I was working, we had a whole Filipino. We called them the Filipino Mafia at work.
Yeah,
They were a whole group of inspectors and Filipinos that worked at that where I worked in the aerospace. And
that might as well be like Newfoundland and British Columbia. They're like,
what?
if you took Canada sideways, it's like the Filipinos would be like the Newfie Japanese.
Yeah, totally.
Not that far away. They're like, there's some.
They'd have these parties and just with food everywhere. They'd force you to eat all this food. They'd be like, eat more food. So hospitable, right? And then they'd break out the karaoke all the time. They were really like, it is a thing. This was back in the 90s, the mid 90s.
And they
were
take
really good at
serious.
karaoke. What?
They take it super serious.
Yeah. The problem is like a lot of the songs I didn't try it back then. I mean, the one time I tried it in the 90s was Led Zeppelin.
Now it would be good because
why? Oh my God, it was the time. I was just telling you about the videotape.
Now it would be good because now it's like all the songs are oldies like you.
Yeah,
back then the oldies were like too old.
There's more now. There's more now that I listen to than there was back then, for sure.
Now that you're an oldie, everything fits.
Anyway. I'm feeling old, dude. I feel like we lost a few years during COVID, and I do feel like I'm feeling this middle-aged like weird thing. I mean, I heard Rogan talk about it once too. Like, I think he was talking
middle-aged,
50 or what?
Did you say middle-aged?
Well, it's probably like past middle-age. That's the problem. Is you're past middle-age.
That is optimistic, though.
I don't feel 55, dude. I feel like 35 still.
If anyone could pull off 110, though, it'd be you.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure.
Good. I mean, we had a listener that said they dreamt that you got all jacked. Maybe you need to get all jacked.
Wow, I want to hear more about this dream.
I think it was in the chats.
Well, I try and stay somewhat active. I mean, I'm still skating and playing hockey now again. And
There you go.
try to do a little bit of curls and lift some weights a little bit just to keep, do some squats.
I think
But-
that's the most important.
The squats?
Weights.
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably do more, but
Resistance of some sort,
Yeah.
I think once you hit 50, you got to really do the weights to keep your bone density in check.
yeah.
I mean,
Supposed to
but
be
we
good for
might, just get,
osteoporosis and stuff.
we might be able to just get like nanobots in our arms and fucking.
Well, it's coming. I mean, I heard one of the guys from the All In podcast talking about how there's stuff coming, there's stuff happening in anti-aging.
Is there? Yeah, I listened to the episode you sent me. Seems interesting, but I mean, these guys all have billions of dollars, so it's like when I go to try and do any of the stuff they're talking about, pretty much like computer says no.
I just thought you should
Yeah.
be up to speed on what's happening with the AI from an agentic way, and just how they're proceeding, like just to keep on in touch with like where that's going, right?
It's like I can't. There's all this like uploading, downloading, this and that we have to do to be on all of these platforms, which we'll probably talk about a little bit later. But it's like I'm trying to find ways. I'm trying to find ways
do that, to have somebody help with the admin.
automate some of that. And
Yeah.
it's like
I know.
Spotify or the Patreon one actually seemed the closest. But it was getting weird with the nature of the RSS feed for the audiobooks because it's password protected. So it was like, well, you have to make a temporary category and put them all in there and do this. And I was like, man, if this goes wrong, it's going to be like a catastrophic infrastructure failure for our like RSS feeds. So
That was getting it over to the Apple one.
no, Apple does. There's no like auto integration really for any of it, which is even for the free feed is already on Apple, so it's just a matter of populating all the new stuff there, which ain't too bad. Audio ain't bad. That's the one thing you learn quick is audio ain't bad. At most, your files are like a gig and a half. So that stuff kind of moves. And most of our books are way less than that. Most of them, like if I had to pick an average, it's like 400 or 500 megabytes. So the files move quick. You're not waiting for it. You can just sort of cruise around the Adult Brain page to find all the notes and the art. And it's all sort of right there. So that works pretty good. It's not, but it's just like you'd think there'd be, from what these guys are talking about, it's like I should just be able to have the AI do all this shit. I should be able to hook up my Mac laptop here and have it just running this shit. So all day and all night, it's just like doing this for me so that I don't have to do it. But it doesn't seem like that's a possibility yet. It seems like I could have it maybe, start spinning off emails to people. I mean, this is what
I know, but
no
who cares?
part-
Like, that's all
these
the stuff
AI
I
agents
want.
are just gonna flood my inbox with more bullcrap, which is probably what's happening already. I like how much of these publicist emails we get and everything else are not even real fucking people.
I
Because
know.
almost
I know.
like 50% of the time I'll reply to them and they're like, what? Who are you talking about? What show? And it's like, are you fucking kidding me, man? You
I know.
emailed me with a whole pitch here. And
I
I
know.
just
It's so-
replied to your email.
Oh,
You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
they've almost ruined the email.
It's like they don't even have access to that thread properly, so they can't even see what I've replied to. I don't know what's going on. It's because this AI bot's doing everything, and they're just getting like, here's a lead, here's a lead, here's a lead.
Well, what the fuck are they wanting? They want a reply, and they get a reply, and they don't know what to do with it. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's good for a bunch of stuff. It's handy for a bunch of stuff, but these guys are talking about having their AI agents do, either I'm just too stupid or too not stupid, but too much of a layman to figure it out. But I can't.
No, I think this is the Claude bot stuff too, though, right? Like, I think there's a whole like other like thing to add on to our infrastructure, which I don't even know if it's safe to use yet.
Yeah, and then you can use like Zapier to do this or do that but none of it really none of it seems to work properly without a whole bunch of work. It's like here's the one thing I was looking at doing. I was like, it'd be cool if we had like a search on the Grimerica page where you could just go search up anything and it'll be like it'll pull up the episode and maybe it'll go through the transcript to figure out the timestamp and be like, "Boo, they talked about it in these 10 episodes at this timestamp," or
Yeah.
whatever. And then you could maybe build some sort of like Grimerica bot, like that just is like trained on all of our episodes.
Some people already made that. Some people like Scott's made that already.
Yeah, but it's just like you got to be willing to sit there and it's like, okay, well, first you have to get all the transcripts for all the episodes. And it's like, holy fuck. And it's like, well, not the YouTube ones. Ideally, you get them and put them through Whisper. And then it's like, I transcribed 1 or 2 episodes and I was like, this is fucking nuts. Because then you got to like take them and put them all into this. Because you got to like basically build this sort of archive for it that is just an overwhelming amount of work, which is the work I want automated.
Yeah, exactly. Once you get it all in, oh yeah, that's great. You can pull stuff out, but you want to automate the inputs.
Yeah, the inputs are what kill you if you don't start it from day one. Because the problem is we just got so much everything. I mean, there's 230 audiobooks. There's
1,200 episodes probably.
Yeah, there's more than that, I think, that's probably about right. Because there's 484 America Outlawed podcasts. And then there's 751. I think this is 751 for the grammar.
No, I think it's 750 actually. Or I thought when you said it was 750 last time, you were a couple off, and I was going to talk to you about that. But
no, I think I was right.
750. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, so this is 751. Yeah.
How dare you argue with the engineer?
The Grimerica, the custodial engineer.
I knew for sure because I made the art already.
Right.
So, but yes, 751. 751. So that's 1,300 podcasts and 200 and some audiobooks. So just dealing with the audiobooks is a shit show. Like, luckily, because Spotify does the Patreon and Spotify kind of link in good so that you can do the feed on Spotify so that you can see like the Grimerica Outlawed on Spotify. You can see both episodes there. It says extra. So you can kind of, I don't know if you can actually log or sign up right in Spotify or if it like pushes you over to we have this integration turned on so that you can get Grimerica Outlawed Plus on Spotify. And I wanted to turn that on to the audiobooks, but luckily I had this old Patreon account with audiobooks in it. So I'd already done like 48 or something like that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's like a 20% of the work done. So
yeah, that's good.
And like I say, audio moves fast, so I could very quickly get that up to, I think it's up to 78 or 80 now.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's what I've been up. Upload, download, download.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But I mean, we do have the I guess the exciting news of the week for us is that we do have Apple. We were talking about Apple, and that's been a bunch of work because Apple, at least the Apple Podcast app, I don't know about any other ones, but
so the native Apple Podcast app, the old Apple Podcast app, the OG,
the OG app has enabled like in-app subscription so that people don't have to go to a website or they don't have to do this or they don't have to do that. So we hooked that up on this show. Which sort of makes it easy for people. The problem is I couldn't put it, you can't, like if you go to the website, grimerica.ca/support, you can pick in any number, do it one time, do it monthly. It's up to you. Apple doesn't give you that kind of flexibility. So it's like,
so you had to put something in, right? So even though it's value for value, you had to put something in just to make it easier for people to donate to the show. And it's not, you're not getting any extra content for this show or anything. It's just a way to support the show, value for value. But what did you put it at? Like
$5 a month.
$5 a month. Okay.
If
That's
you're
good.
in the US, it's $5.
$5 US. Yeah. That's a good little, a good amount. That's not too much. And if people want to do value for a bit, it's probably easy to shut it off too, right? You could probably shut it off in the app.
Yeah, you could just do or you could also even just do like an annual subscription, I think, which is $50. Just do that once and shut it off.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So those are in there.
So that's helped. Yeah. Cause we have got a couple people donating, which is nice. I got a couple emails to read here. And,
well, that's one thing I wanted to mention. If you do support the show that way and you have a note or anything, we won't know. Apple doesn't hand over the information to us. If you subscribe to the show through that, if you support this show through Apple, you'll have to email us and let us know so we can credit you.
Oh, I guess that's the only downfall for us too, is we won't be able to capture like emails and stuff like that.
That's right. But if you hate PayPal and all that other stuff, you could, Apple's probably already got your credit card if you have an iPhone. So there you go. You can do it right in there. You can also get to Grimerica Outlawed Plus right through Apple app now. And of course, you can get it through Spotify and Patreon. You can hook that up, and you can get all the audiobooks through Apple and on Spotify through Patreon. So there you go. I mean, you can do it all in app now if you're an Apple or Spotify. I think like Apple and Spotify is like over half of the people listening to podcasts are using one of those two apps. So the thing I don't think happens is I don't think it goes past the native app. So I don't think it goes down to Overcast and those sorts of things.
Yeah. Did you hear Apple getting in trouble a little bit for their news app?
No, I uninstalled the news app.
Yeah, well, so did I. I mean, so I've done it so long ago, I forgot that people keep getting bombarded with these news headlines through Apple, and it's all like it's 100% left wing. There's no balance at all, so it's just completely pushing people to all these headlines that probably half of them are bogus. It's unbelievable.
Bogus headlines. Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? That's why you gotta install that shit. You just gotta torch it. Do we have any housekeeping? You said you had some emails. Whether they support emails?
Yeah. So this one is from somebody who is back. They said that's when I realized something about Grimerica. Your show has been in my rotation for almost a decade. Life has some ups and downs. 20 what?
Stop. I'm going to interrupt you reading this.
Why?
Oh, did you cut out the part about me interrupting you?
No, I'm just going to skip over that part. No, he said he came back for Graham and he stayed for Derek.
But wait, I wanted to defend that.
Okay.
Because I've always had a trouble interrupting at the best of times.
Well, yeah, it's not something personal.
Yeah, 2020, 2021. That was when we first went to fully, what do you call this?
Internet, non-local,
which was way trickier to figure out how to. I mean, we still haven't fully figured out how to navigate non-local as easy it is when I can be like, when we can look at each other and make eye contact.
Yeah. So I was just leaving that out of the email. I didn't want to throw Darren under the bus here, but yeah, he was upset because Darren was interrupting me a lot. So, and I mean, but I don't take it personal. Darren and I know about it. We've worked on it a little bit. We try to deal with it, but I mean, Darren does that with other people too. So it's not, I'm not even in person. It's just the way he is. It's just the way his brain works. It's not even like you're not even being rude or anything like that. It's just when you got something to say, you need to get it out.
I'll lose it.
Or it disappears quick. So anyways, he said a lot of ups and downs, but despite all, you two have always been dependable and consistent with the episodes. You have various topics, great guests, good humor, and you're both very knowledgeable about so many show subjects. No matter how shitty my day is, when I hear the intro music, it calms me down a bit. I feel like I'm listening to two old friends having a conversation. I don't want this show to go away because you didn't receive money you rightly earned. I'm hoping you two keep doing this for many years. Don't let the lack of donations ever make you feel like what you're doing isn't valuable. I'm sorry I stepped away from your show for a while. I have some catching up to do. Lastly, I have a show idea that I really hope you consider. Graham, you have read a lot of fascinating books over the years, and I'm sure it's given you plenty to contemplate. Like when you did your 3 days and 3 nights presentation, I think it would be cool if you began your own show segment. Graham's Insights or something like that, where you talk about something you've learned or found interesting while narrating the audiobooks. Doesn't have to be long, can be just a fact or idea you had, but I would like to bring more of this stuff up when you find something interesting. Thanks for all you two do. I'm just checking if this is anonymous, because I do have another anonymous one to read, but I think that's I can say his name is from Shane. He's just talking about getting pulled back in, and he came back and listened to a few episodes over the past years, but it wasn't until a recent episode with Nami Patel that Darren impressed the hell out of me. Darren asked her some amazing questions that episode. I came for Graham, but I stayed for Darren. So that's good feedback there. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you, Shane. Well, on that note, we do need people to support the show. GreatAmerica.ca/support if you can, when you can. Sign up for a monthly, make a one-time donation. Of course, you can also do that on Spotify or Patreon. You can support the show on Patreon. You can support the show on Spotify. Not Spotify. I keep saying Spotify, but you can't. Apple. GreatAmerica.ca/support. Patreon. And there's one more, isn't it? Am I missing one? Oh, well, you could sign up if you're... Some people listen to the show on YouTube. There's like a few hundred people that do the show on YouTube. You can also... think you can just do like a little... It doesn't have to be live to do a super chat. You can do like a tip. We've had a few people send us $5 or $10 on an episode. Or we've got it enabled so you can sign up as a member and become a member of the YouTube channel.
Well, here's an anonymous note. And you might want to answer this question too. Just donated $20 to the show. Hi, Graham. It appears there is no field in the PayPal donation to leave a note. I could certainly be wrong. I checked twice, though. I'm on a Brave browser. Anyhow, my wife and I need some baby-making karma to deliver us a little Grimerican. I know that it's not what you guys are known for, but both of us are fans of your shows and would prefer to donate here. We especially love the Outlawed Roundup, Lazy Ramblings, and Hunting Stories. Got my first buck this year, and my wife had to help me drag it up a massive and steep hill to the house. Definitely was thinking about Darren's stories during that drudgery. Much love, Anonymous in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So thank you for the donation and some jingle, some good vibes, karma, some baby making karma from all the people in Grimerica.
Can this be the baby making karma?
Okay, there we go. We had the new moon, dark sky, which is great. Had a planned camping, pitched our tent, went back there for the night. Crystal clear. Darkest night. Decided to read that meditation, did the singing bowl, and that shit starts happening. Pow, pow, pow.
Pow, pow, pow.
Flashbulbs. Streakers coming down. Graham's unlocked. He said star. Graham's unlocked.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
All right.
Oh my God. That's a good old jingle. Wow, that's an old jingle. So before I forget about the books, the guy was mentioning about the books. We did do an episode about audiobooks a while back. Do you remember? Remember we did a whole episode about the audiobooks where we kind of went over, ran them down. Actually, that was quite a few years ago now. Wow. When I think back.
Probably a few years ago.
So
But that wasn't really, I guess we kind of dug into it a little bit on you. We did do a little bit of digging into a few titles, but probably not in depth as we could.
And I keep notes and I do talk about it. Sometimes I read quotes from them and stuff like that, but that's a good idea to do maybe a little segment or something on them. I just finished like one that'll be coming out soon. I don't even want to talk about ones that aren't officially out yet because it's not really good marketing unless, maybe it is, I guess. Who knows? But this is like the original superhero. It's called what's it called again? Gladiator. So this is like before Superman and Spider-Man and all. This is the early 1900s. It's pretty much like a superhero tale, but before all the superheroes even came about. I mean, I could totally picture it as a movie or a TV show. Pretty cool. So keep an eye open for that on adultbrain.ca.
I double checked the AI.
Oh, you got it out there already
to make a movie, but it said it'd still be $100,000.
Yeah,
it probably wouldn't be great. Did we already thank? So grimerica.ca/support the show wherever in the app. Do whatever you can to support us, and the show will keep going as we come up on our, I guess, 13th anniversary here in a couple months. We do need people to support the show. Otherwise, we won't be able to keep doing it. But people have been answering the call. Do we already thank Casey Farrell? We must have, right?
I don't know.
Well, we'll thank her again just in case. So she signed up for $10 a month. So
She deserves thanking many times. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a friend of the show. So thank you, Casey. We also got James Feeney, one-time donation, $21, which works out to like $250 a month for a year or something like that. Is that right? No, maybe like whatever it is. It's great.
Thanks, James.
It's more than most people do, so that's a huge help. Thank you, James. Jump over to Daniel Lane, who made I think a one-time donation of $5. So thank you, sir. That helps. We got Tyler J. Anderson signed up on Patreon for $5 a month. Then we had, I think this is a recurring donation, I'm assuming. I'll find out for sure next month, I guess. But Adam Fitch, $4. And then we had Lucas Deaton. I don't know if it's a one-time donation or a recurring, but $10 US.
Thank you, everybody. Wow. Nobles coming to show.
I'm not even done yet.
Okay. Wow.
Shane
Wow, this is
Sang,
a good week.
who you read the email from, signed up on Patreon for $5.55.
Nice.
We had just today, James McQuaid comes in on Stripe with $25 a month recurring donation.
Wow. Thanks, James.
Last but certainly not least, again today, under the wire for the reading of today's notes. I don't know if you got notes from me, guys, but $20 one-time donation from Hunter Stabler. Thank you, sir. Which is, of course, what we said. If you can't do, some people can't do recurring donations, but you can always just go buy a gift card or do this or figure something else. Do it one time. Or fine, do it once a year. Do it as often as you want. That's how the value for value model works. If you are getting some value from the 751 podcasts all out there, you know, Benjamin Grundy was always telling me we gotta shut down the back catalog. It's the number one support indicator. We just never did it, so we refused to do it. It's there, kept it free. And hopefully,
was it James McQuaid or Jim McQuaid? Because I thought I got a note from MCQUADE.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought I got an email from him recently, so I don't know.
Anyway, we could use a few because we did have quite a big churn there over the last year, so we could use a few weeks like that in a row. Would be super. But we really do thank all those people who are now nobles in Gramerica. If you ever need a note read or anything like that, if you need to get the word out about anything, you let us know.
Oh yeah, Jim McQuaid. Yeah, I got an email from him. He sent me something that we'll probably talk about on Outlawed, which is going to be recording in about 20 minutes here. Outlawed Roundup. He sent me a link to a BC politician talking about some stuff. And he also asked a question a little while ago about the conspiracy guys. He's like, do you have any info on what happened to Gordo and his podcast? I can't find any info on the net about him since 2 years ago. Did you know, Darren? Yeah. Remember we had him on and we kind of got into a vaccine debate with him a little bit.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is I was just thinking today, because I'm redoing all the old episodes for the Gramerica Spotify radio, Gramerica Radio on Spotify, which is a collection of just all the interviews we've ever done with no intros, no outros, no music, no nothing. Just hours and hours and hours of entertainment. Where's it going with that? Oh, Truth Cat. I did the Truth Factory episode today.
Oh wow. Was that Outlawed or that was
regular Gramerica way back in the day, but I believe that the YouTube channel got nuked.
Her YouTuber?
I think so.
Probably, yeah. Wow, yeah. She was good there. She was I think she was Albertan too. I wonder what's going on with her.
Yeah, I think she was up by Red Deer or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And she had the YouTube channel that was blowing up. And then I'm just going to see if I can confirm that quickly while I'm talking to you here. Why don't you fill some air, buddy?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of us went through censorship and all that, and that's why we appreciate your donations now because it's kind of helping us get through these times. I remember looking at our growth, and we got all excited. This is like 2018, 2017. I mean, I think we had seen some censorship, but we were also, on a huge growth thing, and I think it was
Look at this.
Oh no, you know what it was? It was
Wait. The channel still exists. 141,000 subscribers, but no videos uploaded in 3 years.
Yeah. Is there any links at all for her X account or anything like that, or
Not here.
not on the YouTube?
No, I mean, all it would take to shut it down, though, is it doesn't take a total clobber, and all it really takes is
The shadow banning type thing, yeah.
or demonetization.
Yeah.
Then it's like, what am I doing here? If that was we were always up to a bunch of stuff. So when we got demonetized forever, it didn't really matter. YouTube was never a revenue source for us. It was just a place we were.
It was a dumping ground for quite a while.
Yeah, and but some people, that was their whole thing, right? It was the whole business model. So if you get demonetized and that was your business model, it's like, well, what am I doing? I got to go get a job, or I got to do something. I got to figure out something. Anyway, we should probably get out of here pretty soon. Is there no more housekeeping? Spam, grammaticamerica.com. Send in your emails. Got a bio?
I do, yeah. Dr. Christopher Macklin, highly respected as a UFO expert, energetic healer for his work in assisting people in achieving optimal spiritual, mental, emotional, physical health. I think he talked about doing healing like based on donation basis too. I think he had a really interesting experience when he was in the UK, and he had to move over to America to heal, like to help people. So his work, which addresses a wide range of mind, body, spirit imbalances to overall wellness, which is well received and resonates with the general public. We've been experiencing all kinds of emotions, chronic mental imbalances, and increased physical illness from during the pandemic. He's going to come on our Outlawed show too, where we'll get a little bit more controversial with him. But he talks about, divine sovereignty and the Galactic Federation and 5Gs and SADs and all kinds of stuff like that. So his website is the globalenlightenmentproject.com, and there's a link in the show notes. So that's the one link that I have for him, and it's all there. Oh, you muted yourself.
I'm muted. So there you have it, guys. Support the show. Do support the show. I'll leave it at that. Enjoy the interview with. We're gonna have I should mention we're gonna have Christopher Macklin back on Grammarica Outlaw because we almost skirted into the no-go zone a couple times in this episode, and we talked about it off air quite a bit. And we were like, well, let's just do an outlawed episode where we could do it and we don't have to worry about getting nuked on everything again after crawling out of the. I don't know that we're fully out. We still seem to be stuck in the YouTube hole and the podcast hole and a few other things, but we are starting to grow interestingly on some other platforms again. That seems like censorship finally, because people have been saying it's coming off for a while, but we haven't witnessed that. We haven't witnessed it in a while, but for the first time in 2026, it seems to be slowly letting up. So America.ca/support. We love you. Enjoy the chat with OG Christopher Macklin.
And we are live with Dr. Christopher Macklin. Thanks for joining us in Grimerica. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about some of the stuff that you research and write about for a while, but thank you for coming to join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yay, we're doing it.
What an interesting time to be researching and following UFOs and all that stuff. It's fascinating.
Well, it's everything. I mean, everything, sometimes I look outside and I don't recognize this planet anymore. It's like totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, take a peek outside. Let's ignore it. Let's just focus on what we're doing. It's insane.
Yeah. Touch grass, as they say. Go outside,
Absolutely.
touch some grass. So, tell us a little bit about yourself before we sort of dive into it.
Well, I was born. When I was born, it was interesting because I've always been gifted. But of course, if you're coming down to do a job, like starseed person, whatever you want to call them, they know who you are. They can read your energy and everything else. So 2 days after I was born, 8 strokes. Then I burnt my back when I was 4, and this went on and on and on. I've been attacked right through my life. I could see, beings, and I thought, oh my God, age of 4, I could see like reptilians in my bedroom. Dad, there's a reptilian. And he goes, comes running, where? It's there, and you couldn't see him, of course. So I've got the gift of seeing through the veil. And, I've always gone through life, could see craft in the sky and things like this. And of course, you tell anybody that, it's just a bad dream, or, it's your imagination. And, well, it wasn't. Anyway, now I use it, of course. But, I moved forward and left school, got a degree, got a master's, got PhD, and later on with, the stuff I'm doing now. But about 2007, I went completely bankrupt. I was in corporate doing flight control systems and all these other things. And then 2007, it was almost like a 10 by 4. Whole life fell apart, I was building a load of apartments in Manchester, That's a kind of Trump type level thing, way out of my league. But, you think you can do it or not.
Would that have been your guys' version of it? Because in 2008, obviously 2007 strikes a thing, because in 2008 it sort of all falls apart in the US. So is this sort of because
the same.
in Canada we're sort of ignorant to a lot of this, because they managed to pull some strings and prop some shit up and print. We're gonna go through it. There's a good argument that we're starting to go through it now, but we sort of skipped by a lot of that 2008 crisis that affected the US, and it sounds like it hit the UK in 2007.
Oh yeah, bad. I mean, I remember the apartments. We were building 173 and designing it, everything else, bought the land. And then the bank phones up and they said, well, these apartments that are worth £220,000 are now worth 90. So less than half. So you got 14 days to pay your money back. And I thought, oh. And they took us bankrupt within a month, and marriage split up, everything split up. And actually, it was a blessing because, I had no money, but I had no debt either. And it was like quite liberating. And that's when I really awoken to really focusing on my spiritual gifts, went to Belize, went all over the world. And, but I remember having a reading. This is really interesting. In 2000, I had a reading, and it was just outside Liverpool, a place called Birkenhead, a little bit rough, and lady was 84. So I turned up there. Right, let's sit down, okay. So he goes, okay, I'm going to start the reading. So she, oh, okay. Thank you. Kept there, thank you. Put all these things down. She said, well, you're going to get remarried. I thought, okay. You're going to move to America. Okay. And you're going to do healings, work for God, and live off donations. Is this woman insane or what? And, here we are. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love what I do. I mean, people say, do flight controls. I did the flight controls for Eurofighter, for Airbus and things like that. It must be really exciting. It was boring, I used to look around and say, God, there's got to be more than this. It's just software, boring. But, and here we are. I love what I do now. And it's a real passion.
That's like one of those things that you think AI could probably be pretty good at, is like making sure planes don't crash into each other. Is that kind of what it was? Is that like that air traffic control, like the movies are about and stuff like that?
The autopilot system's got like 4 processors, and you put your waypoints in, you fly to different points, and They've all got different amounts of waypoints. And, at that time, I mean, it wasn't AI driven. I mean, the Eurofighter was actually an unstable airframe. So without the correction of the autopilot, it would drop out the sky. And the reason for that is because it's so unstable, if you want to make a maneuver, you can do it really fast. If you get a really stable airframe, if you want to make a maneuver, it takes, to bank, it takes too long. So that's the first time they started really using unstable airframes to be able to maneuver a lot faster. I mean, now it's AI driven, so it's different.
Well, I got to ask before we start getting into this, because you mentioned you've been seeing this stuff since you were born, which is a while back. So it seems, are you noticing more entities or any change in what your vision's showing? Because it seems like over the last 20 or 30 years, what seemed to started as like maybe just a political ideology has sort of morphed into what is starting to resemble real evil. Like whether it's the kid stuff or the totalitarianism or the mandatory this and the mandatory that and the don't leave the house. And it's like, from our perspective, I'm sure you would agree. We'll see when you answer the question, but we've been doing this 13 years. So you've seen it kind of what started as like a fun passion project. I mean, there was evil out there, but it seems to be more, and I don't know if it's a nature of the business we're in, but it seems like evil is just becoming more and more and more prevalent over the last 10 or 20 years at least. So I'm wondering if someone has got this sort of gift, what does that look like to you?
Evil. Yeah, satanically evil. It's interesting because, if you look at the Vatican, if you look at, the Dalai Lama's life, if you look at the royals, if you look at, whatever you look at, it's all satanic. It's all rotten to the core. Obviously the cabal, the people in government, I'm not talking about all of them, but I'm talking about political people. Obviously there's a regime who just want to take over the world. We know who they are, and obviously Epstein files are piling out. But I think, I think the God within us and the white hat, I don't know I like the word white hat, but the people who care about humanity, patriot people who care about humanity, not all the money. And I mean, the money's worthless. People talk about trillions of dollars. Well, the dollar bill's worth nothing right now. It's probably worth a couple of cents than it was in 1973. So why are people worshipping that? It's just insane. But it's got darker and darker. And of course, look at the child trafficking, look at adrenochrome, look at everything, it's insane. But you've got to remember that these people are puppets in the government. The real issue is the reptilians, the draconians, the Luciferians, the Anunnaki. All these guys have got together and they want to actually take over this planet. And it's not happening. We're being allowed to fight back. And luckily we've got races who are helping us with new technologies like, plasma weapons, where they can actually destroy craft. Before we couldn't, the conventional firearm would not work on them. And so we've got a whole host of new technology coming, which we've been given, which we've been exercising, in the United States. And yeah, it works. So, but also these reptilians, of course, are in a different dimension. They can shapeshift into this dimension, but they come from the fourth dimension, which means they're around in spirit, but they can attach to you, and I've seen a lot more prevalent action over the last 5-6 years, where these things are coming in the night and scratching people, because they can switch in this dimension, scratch people and switch out and disappear. And you think, God, what's those scratches them about? Who did that? Well, it's a being that it can shapeshift in this dimension for a quarter of a second, scratch you, disappear, and you don't know. They're also attacking people. They're also energetically raping people as well, and that's happened a lot. It's insane. So it's up to us to step up our game and actually use what I call maps of intent. I don't like the word prayer because it's very Christian. I'm not a Christian, but I do follow Jesus' teachings. I think they're great. But I'm not a Christian because the Bible's been written by a couple of pedophiles like King James and Constantine. Yeah. So would you want to read that stuff? Probably not. But that's up to people, just my opinion.
It's got to be an interesting time because you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, did you ever think you'd see the time where you've got like a sitting president and a former president sort of bickering back and forth about aliens and whether it's classified? And I mean, this
It's insane.
at the same time as these Epstein files come out. I mean, it's the conspiracy community that we sort of spend some time in is all sort of nothing's fast enough, and it's all just there's a lot of black pill going on there. But I mean, for someone who's been in the game as long as you have, it's got to be fucking crazy because it's like, who would have ever thought that either of those two things were going to happen? And now they're both happening seemingly simultaneously.
Oh yeah, and I think there's a lot more going to come out. I mean, I think what they're doing is disclosing very carefully. And people say, well, there's been no arrests. Well, there's arrests at the background, but they're not really focused on delivering. Although, look at central casting. Look at Biden, central casting. They've now admitted that he was gone in 2019. So, I mean, I've been called a tinfoil hat person, conspiracy theorist. It's getting old a bit, I remember phoning my dad one day and he goes, I've got to tell you something. And, what's that? He goes, you're barking mad. Oh my God. I said, you know what? That's the best compliment, Dad, you've ever given me. Because he's always berated me because I've got severe dyslexia. I mean, I wrote all these books and people say, how the heck do you write these books? Well, I've got a ghostwriter. I dictate the stuff. I'm not good at writing. I'm not good at reading either because, when you read a sentence, you miss stuff out. But the point is that I think all these conspiracy theories are coming true. And now people are actually turning around and saying, I had a client, I work on 3,000 people a week, thereabouts, working on healing, working on emotion release, working on cancer, working on all sorts of stuff. And of course, the bioweapons. I know we want to talk about that, but that's really significant. We can talk about that and go real in depth. And, the other day, this lady said, well, my husband's a banker and he thinks I'm nuts. My kids think I'm a conspiracy theorist. And then suddenly the Epstein files drop and the son's phone, oh my God, I feel sick. So yeah, I think for us who have been in the game for a long time, they always say in the Q post, the end won't be for everybody. Even the most seasoned people will be shocked. And I'm kind of thinking, what would shock me in this world? The answer is probably nothing. I know what happens. I've seen the satanic stuff. I've remote viewed these dumbs where the kids are, and I only ever did it once. And I threw up, and because when you remote view, you can smell, as well as see, and it's absolutely disgusting. And after that, I decided I can't go there, And so I've got a good understanding of all this stuff. And so, what would shock you? Oh, a nuclear bomb goes off. Well, I mean, they won't because the Actorians are actually disabling them. But the point is, I don't know what would shock me anymore because we've got a good understanding of most of the evil on this planet.
So what do you think the official capital D disclosure then is going to look like? I mean, Trump is actually, he's kind of come out and said he's going to declassify all this stuff. So, it's kind of still in their control. And I've been, I was kind of the believer of us two for quite a few years now. I'm becoming a little more skeptical with everything because I've also seen kind of like the new age community kind of fall for, COVID, and there's been now there's like, we're all split in all these different ways. And I don't trust a lot of what I hear from the spiritual community either. So it's kind of, in some ways I got to be careful I don't get too, black. And I don't think black pilled is the right word because I'm not black pilled in the general, but just too untrusting of all these groups and all these people. But what do you think, this is going to look like going forward? I mean, they're going to talk, because there's been a lot of talk in the last couple of years about angels and demons and UFOs, and that's kind of the core part of your work too, is looking at the angelic aspect. So what do you think?
Oh yeah, well, I think they're going to start disclosing things like tall greys, maybe the grey reticular. Start with them, and then moving on, how far they'll get. I mean, again, it's going to be dropped little by little, but I hope they do drop the fact that these reptilians were in control. They're not so much now. I mean, we've got tall greys helping us, the ones that have redeemed themselves are benevolent, and they're helping. They're actually working with the administration to find ways to sort this, technology out. Without the technology, we wouldn't make it.
Yeah. Are they ETs? Do you consider them ETs or just NHI? Like now that seems like they're all these new terms, non-human intelligence as opposed to extraterrestrial. I mean, are they interdimensional from the inner earth, or do you consider a lot of this really like just back to the ETH?
Well, I think a lot of, I mean, the reptilians, like the Anunnaki, been here forever. So is the Draconians. They're actually on Nabarro. They come around every 36,000 years, and they're coming close again, which means that they're amping up their thing. You've got also the Nordics. Taking care of Greenland. You've got the tall greys also in Greenland. A lot of the reptilian element are in actually Antarctica, and that's where the core of the firmament and that is being created. That's why we want Greenland to actually get the northern hemisphere, so we can actually get rid of that and put our own golden dome around it, basically to keep these things out, which will be a good thing. So
Is
there's
that
a
what
lot
the
of
Golden Dome is then at the end of the day? It's nothing to do with missiles. It's more to do with ETs.
yeah, it is a lot to do with ETs. I mean, it's not all. What they're trying to do is get God frequency. So they're using plasma energy. Sun's plasma energy. Obviously, the sun's firing lasers at the moment. It's actually upgrading our bodies from from carbon to crystalline. That's why everyone's struggling at the moment, eating and don't know what to eat, and exhausted because your whole body's upgrading. But what they want to do is put a plasma, kind of energy system around it where it's God energy. And these satanic, draconian type beings, Anunnaki, Draconians, whatever, Luciferians, they don't like, high vibrational energy. And so it'll keep a dome where it'll keep us actually safe. Because at the moment, I mean, they're prevalent all over the planet. And it's their last-ditched attempt, don't forget. So they're really going to amp it up. And people say, oh, it's all the, the prime ministers and presidents. They're just puppets, It's the actual reptilian element behind it that have had the technology. And the greys, of course, the grey reticular.
So do you think we're going to believe them when they? I mean, because I don't even know what to believe anymore.
I would advise everyone to go within and use your intuition. It's like the truth-seeking community. Some of it's full of shit, some of it's not. And how do you know? Well, a lot of people don't know, and so my opinion is, you sort of say, okay, what percentage is this podcast correct? If it's 90%, do you get everything right? Probably not. But if it's 90% correct, you're doing your best, and but use your intuition. Okay, what percentage? Douse it. Use a dowsing rod. A pendulum or something. And douse it. What percentage? And if it's over 90%, yeah, listen to it. If it's like 70 or 50, then they're there as controlled opposition. A lot of these people get money from the CIA and from different areas, and that's what props them up. That's why they become very well off. That's why they become very big. I mean, I've been on this game, since 2010, and if I turned it into a Christian academy or whatever, it'd be huge by now. But I'm not willing to actually give away my sovereignty. You know what I mean? I believe in one God, many paths, and whatever path you want, it's up to you.
Yeah.
But I will not sell myself to anybody, including the CIA. And believe you me, there's been some attempts to, are you interested? No, And so I just say sovereign. So what it means is that when you're on the right path, will you be a multi-billionaire? No. But you'll always have enough to be able to pay the bills and things like that. You know what I mean? Because God's always got your back. And I really believe that. So,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Do you have any predictions then on what these next? Because it's sort of the most volatile time geopolitically in my lifetime, at least. I don't know. We had 9/11 before I was born in 81, so there's really not a lot of. You got the fall of the Soviet Union. I was too young for that, but that didn't seem like a bad thing from where we were sitting, or from where a lot of them were sitting. But now everything seems, I don't know, maybe more comparable to where it was 90 years ago or something like that, leading up to World War II, where sort of all bets are off. Who the fuck knows what's going on in a few weeks? So I'm wondering if you have any idea? Because it seems like you're more optimistic than a lot of the people we talk to. So how do you think this plays out over the next 5 or 10 years, or how long does it take?
I think very quickly there's going to be peace. And I think, they're going to sort Iran out. People say, oh, we're going to war with Iran. No, it's not. It's an extraction, taking the cabal people out. The people of Iran want their country back. All these people want their country back. Ukraine, everywhere. But, they've got these leaders in that are just satanic cabal puppets, whatever you want to call them, So I think there's going to be an extraction around, get that sorted, and I think eventually they'll sort out Ukraine as well and give the people their country back. And I think it's going to be very different in the future, because we're also traveling towards a higher vibration, because our bodies are changing. So when that switches in, if you get 5D type frequencies, that's a high frequency. And with that comes ability to manifest. Everything will change. You won't need money. You can manifest things, or if you can't manifest things, you can use one of Tesla's replicators, where you think, okay, I want a dinner, whatever it is, and it'll produce it. So, I think the world's going to be very different. We'll have Stargate technology where if you get you'll have like a door frame, seen this technology, but and you can dial if I want to come over to you guys, say I'm going to Darren's place, okay, what's your code? And you type the code in, you walk through it, and you'll come out in your, in your living room through your, Stargate thing. And so it'll obliterate the fact that you need aircraft anymore. Yes, you'll probably need cars, they'll be flying. Anti-gravitation will be around forever, since the 1940s. All this stuff has, so the technology is going to be incredible. And I think, we're going towards that. And of course, this Chisara and Asara, when they decide to actually invoke that, all the banks will be toast, the dollar bill will be toast, it'll all be gold backed. And I think it's going to be, I'm actually really optimistic. I think it's going to be amazing. It's just that the problem is it's always darkest before the dawn. And I think we're getting to that real dark place at the moment. There's so much chaos, so many things happening. People's heads are spinning. My advice is get out of the matrix and just focus on having a great time, within yourself. If people berate you, okay, you don't need them in your life, you don't have to judge them, but, set boundaries and say, you stay over there, and have people who really love you and, are there for you, and you can have a laugh with. Because at this time, if you engage with a matrix, it's going to drag the energy out of you. It really is.
Do you think they're going to let go? Are they going to go without a fight? The problem that I see is that we're being bifurcated into these factions that just can't even coexist together. Like, how are we going to even, one faction seems to kind of just want to be left alone, want to leave others alone. The other one seems to want to control. That's just very generalized, but it seems to be that's how it's shaking out. So how are we going to get through this part where they're just not letting go,
Well, they'll let go eventually, I think, because as the energy increases, you start, the thing is about this plasma energy and everything, you start releasing a lot of your trauma. Just being on this planet's traumatic, the place is nuts, and you're going to get trauma just being here. And, if you can stay stable, I always tell my clients, if you can stay stable during this time, I think you're doing amazing. But I think a lot of the bifurcation, I think people are starting to realize, there are an element of people, a very small element, who are just mentally ill and need to go to asylums and, be taken care of. But I think the bifurcation, it's just hatred, like you say, mask versus no mask, vax versus no vax. You got LGBTQ versus whatever. It's just all nonsense. During that pandemic, I wouldn't wear a mask. I won't wear a mask for anybody. It's not law. It's mandated, which is not law. And so I remember going to Best Buy, and they said, you got to put your mask on, sir. So I said, I've got the screaming habdabs. And he goes, oh, okay, stand over there then. And I could see him, what the hell is the screaming habdabs? And so I stood over there and I'll get someone to serve you. And they did. I never put a mask on. And I had a doctor's note to say he's got the screaming habdabs. And what I didn't realize, if you search on Google, there is a condition called the screaming habdabs. Oh, God. I had some fun with it because I think it's all nonsense, And, of course, wearing a mask, the pathogens are, globules are like 3 microns, mask is 80 microns, so it's just like having a big net over your face. Is it going to protect you? Of course it's not. But what you will do is recycle all your all the breaths back in, with the the different mold and things like that. So yeah, it did a number on people. I'm just shocked how people got sucked in. I mean, are you kidding? I mean, I've done a lot of work on this bioweaponry, more than most of these people, these doctors and everything else, because I'm not a medical doctor, never would be. But we did so much research because you can't heal something if you don't understand how it works. And this stuff's like crazy, absolutely crazy.
Well, you got to tell us a little bit about what happened, what your research found then.
Well, when I got in 2000,
is there a spiritual aspect to it?
Yeah, there's an interdimensional, there's a spiritual, quantum, it's all connected. So in 2010, I got here, of course, opened the ministry, and then, it started growing, and I got out, spoke around. And then I met Dr. Hildy Stanninger. She's a world-leading toxicologist, and she introduced me to a thing called Morgellons disease. And what the heck's that? Okay, so we started studying that, and she showed me pictures, and we looked under the microscopes, and, she told me the content of it, which is absolutely astounding. It's got nylon in it. It's got polymers, silicates, it's got all this stuff. Anyway, so started research on it, and I started, okay, right, now I understand how it works. And it's what I call live dead stuff. It's a biologically alive, but it's dead because it's got no soul. It's AI, So I had to sort of figure out how to heal it. So I've got this thing called space-time continuum, a bit like plasma. What it does is it fries it. The problem is that some of it switches dimensions. So what happens if you send it some energy and it just switches dimensions? It's not receiving the energy to kill it off, and then when the energy stops, it switches back again. And I recently had a thing with Dr. O. Young, and I was talking to his microbiologist, and I said, you must have seen the interdimensions. She said, what do you mean? I said, these particles, I said, under a microscope, they'll just disappear. She goes, oh my God, yeah, I've seen that, and I was talking to her about also the black goo, which is the reticular black goo from their planet. They brought it down here, sadly. And I was talking about the black goo, and, she said, oh yeah, I've seen the black goo. I said, you know what it is? It's like, it's the crude oil. I mean, the crude oil is not, it's not, made of mollusks and everything else. It's the heart of the planet. It's the blood of the planet. And same with the reticular. So when they destroyed theirs, they brought some of it down here. So it's also bound with the particles. And then, of course, all made by DARPA, of course. And now they've put it in the jab. So Morgellons only replicates in your body if your DNA is damaged. So the old way is to ingest agrobacterium. It's in GMO foods or it's in vaccines, and it would, over a period of time, damage the DNA. DNA and immunes all connected. So you didn't have the immune response, so the stuff would replicate in your body and grow through your tissue, and you become transhuman. So how did they get over that? Well, in the new vaccine, the COVID vaccine, they put CRISPR technology, and what it does is it goes after the chromosomes. It splices the chromosomes, which means that, suddenly your DNA is damaged straight away. DNA, RNA, immune system, so you don't have the immune response, the stuff replicates. But the other thing about it as well, when your DNA is damaged, if it's damaged enough, the light body in your DNA, in your whole body, is not compatible with your soul. So what happens is the soul lifts out the body, and then in comes archons. That's where the Archon Covenant came from. That's why they wanted to get the archons a body to ride around it, because they don't have a body. And, so yeah, that's why a lot of people who take the jab are kind of checked out, but really aggressive, because you're talking to an entity. You're not talking to, them anymore. So that was interesting. But when it replicates, what happens? Well, you get nylon coming out your skin. So how does that work? Well, it's off-planet technology. So what they're using is graphene. Graphene's carbon. So what do you need for growth? Carbon, oxygen, water, whatever. So the way they've bound the nylon, and it's not, shirt is nylon 9. We're talking about nylon 36, 33, which is a different element altogether. It's very squidgy. And, that grows through the body, so it grows through arteries. So you've seen people take squid out the arteries. You get basically the nano growing through the heart muscle, so people get myocarditis, they get stroke, they get all sorts of things. You get the liver and kidneys have got scar tissue. So over a period of time, as it grows, you become transhuman. And then, eventually it'll just take over the body and, you get into trouble with it. So people are. So it's a horrible thing, but yeah.
Darren, do you got any questions?
How do you get rid of it?
You don't. Actually, it's interesting because if you look at Dr. Tenpenny and different people, she thought pine needle tea would do it, and then she realized, she came on and said, nothing will take it out, because don't forget it's interdimensional, so it can switch out. So if you put like a compound to try and get rid of it, you can't detox it because it's part of your tissue. It becomes part of your tissue. And so, but it also switches dimensions. So what happens if it disappears and then you're giving someone treatment and then it just comes back again? It's insane stuff. So
there's got to be a way to shut off that interdimensional capability. I mean,
well, I spent about 2.5 years looking for a solution. I developed one. So what it is this. The Melchizedek beings, I don't really know much about Melchizedek beings, but they developed the Akashic Records. I was born as one. And why did they develop Akashic Records? Because if you go back in time on a timeline, so say, Darren, I'm going to take you back to 1936 and Hitler's there doing stuff. And you think, well, why don't we just take him out and, it'll change history? You can't, because his timeline's already happened. You've gone back in time. You see what I mean? So if you go on past timelines, you cannot change other people's timeline from that timeline. And so it stops the space-time continuum of being actually really kind of fractured. So, but what we can do is split timelines in two. It's a Melchizedek thing. So what we do is split somebody's timeline in two. So we grab them and put them on a path of divine alignment, complete wellness, where all the particles, all the nylons, silicates, polymers, spike protein, HIV microinserts, everything is eradicated on this timeline. On the other timeline to the sun, what we do is strip out the particles and lock them on a timeline to the sun. So now they're locked on in this 3D world on a timeline to the sun. So what happens is, if they go to the fourth dimension, they disappear. When they come back, they're locked on that timeline. They cannot get off that timeline. And but the other thing about it as well, of course, the DNA is damaged. So after time goes on a little bit, it takes about 18 weeks. When someone's vibration is high enough, the Melchizedek beings can go in and work on the DNA. So they go in the cell where life began, they repair all the chromosomes, connect all the heats together, and reset the DNA of that cell back to the blueprint in the Akashic Records, cells around it. So when the whole thing's done, your body's back to where it should be. All the particles and the nylons and everything have been stripped out the body, and your soul reintegrates because it's compatible now with the light body of your DNA. So we're on our 73rd group. We do it once a month. We have anywhere between like 6, 8, 10, 15 people, who knows. And we've had amazing success. It's stripped out all this Morgellons and jab stuff and everything. Yeah. So
how do people find that group?
Yeah, just go onto our website if you're interested. I mean, I get a lot of people saying, "Well, I had to take the vaccine because I'm a nurse or I'm a doctor." Well, you don't have to take it, but I understand because they've got to feed their family. And so I've had a lot of doctors and nurses come on and say, I've got to get rid of this stuff, and it's on the website, the protocol.
What's the
Global
website?
Enlightenment Project, globalenlightenmentproject.com.
Okay.
So if you're interested, I have to work on you 3 times a day, every day for about 36 to 38 weeks to get rid of it. So it's a lot of work, but it's had amazing effects. Yeah, so this bioweaponry is evil, and it's crimes against humanity. It's not a vaccine; it's a bioweapon.
Is it where did it come from? Do you have any? Because it wasn't. They say they made it, but if you just do the math on how long it should have taken to make billions of the fucking things, it seems pretty clear they were sitting in a warehouse someplace ready to go. So and Trump kind of mixes into that too, because he's the one who called Operation Warp Speed in the end. But now it seems like, so that it was almost like that was a disillusionment for him to be any real change in the system. And I can hear people yelling at their phones already, but lately it's starting to seem like there's a change in the system, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I think he did Warp Speed because there was 2 choices. The cabal would have locked people down for about 10 years with all this nonsense and can't go to work, can't do this, can't do that. It would have destroyed the economy. So the thing is about politics, there's never a right or wrong answer. I don't think it's about Republican or whatever. I think it's about the people. Do the people need to be locked down for 10 years, or do we do warp speed and get something so we can reopen the place? And yes, there's going to be casualties either way. But how? And the answer is, how do you navigate that? And the answer is, I don't know. I'm not a politician, but
Yeah. There's
what I mean.
nuanced.
I never want to be either.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm patriot. I'm for people. I'd love to see this country go back to something like the older Native American ways, where you got the chief of the, you got the chief of the state, and maybe a few people in government at the top. But I'd love it to see it be back to the people, not this cabal system. But So anyway, where did it come from? Well, let's have a look. So it came from the grey reticular. They were talking about hybrids and this, that, and the other. You guys know that they did a deal where, first of all, it was Hitler, where they could steal eggs and sperm to create their own hybrids. They're not very smart, by the way, the reticular. And then obviously they signed a deal here so they could continue doing the same thing. Now, what they were doing is they were stealing eggs and sperm, and they were putting them in a plastic pod. And they think, hang on a minute, this is not a proper human being. What was happening is that you were getting a draconian soul in. It wasn't a proper human being. They checked out, and they figured out that, oh yeah, you need a woman's womb with the god energy to get a proper human soul in. If you try and do it outside, that's why if you do chest tube babies, they start to get it to fertilize, put it straight back in the womb, because otherwise you're going to get some robotic thing. And that's why, if you look at the percentage of non-player characters here, it's about 65-70% of non-player characters. That means characters that were born in some pod-like thing, and they've got a draconian AI soul. They're checked out. And you can see that when you walk around. If you go in if you go into a shop or something, you can see them walking amongst us. So anyway, so they did all that. So they gave them technology. So the first was Agent Orange in 1965. Agent Orange is one step away. So if you look at Brilliant Lyme, HIV/AIDS, Agent Orange, they're one step away. They're almost the same thing, but the Agent Orange attacks the nervous system more. So it's a stealth pathogen, so it replicates, and all the co-infection, everything make you really sick. And then the second one in 1975, it was adapted, and we called it Lyme disease, or Borrelia, which is the stealth pathogen of Lyme disease, 1975. And then in 1981, they developed HIV/AIDS. That came about, and so on. And then in 2002, they identified Morgellons. I think it was created before that. And the thing is about Morgellons, the particles are 10 to the -9 small. And you think, well, okay, some of them, you've got graphene tubes, graphene spheres. How do you manufacture them? You can't. You have to grow them. So DARPA actually grows them, so just interesting things. So, yeah.
How big did you say they were?
10 to the -9 small. So it's 1 nanometer, like teeny. That's why what's happening at the moment. Think about this: if you take the jab and it's growing through your heart muscle, and suddenly you have a heart attack, and they scan you, so nothing wrong with your heart. I was talking to a cardiologist in our local hospital, and I said, "You must be getting a lot of people with myocarditis symptoms." He goes, well, yeah, I said, "I bet you scan them, you don't see anything, you think they're okay, and send them home." Yeah, how do you know? I said, because the stuff's 10 to the -9 small. On a normal scan, you will not see it. So if anyone's got this, the best test, and it's only 65 to 70% correct, is a D-dimer test, where you can actually check for microclots, in the heart. D-dimer test. So it's just helping you guys out if you're worried about that,
Yeah, that got pretty popular in BC. There was a little town called Lytton. There was a doctor that came from Lytton, BC, because he was trying to get these adverse event reports submitted, and they were really pushing back against him, like the official college of doctors in BC. And he was the one that seemed to bring that D-dimer test to popularity. He was like, well, that's how you have to test it to see if you've got the issues there.
But it's only 65 or 70% cooked anyway, because the protein might not be there. You know what I mean? It's there at the start, maybe not there that day, and you think, oh no, you're okay. So yeah. But it's insane. I remember being on a podcast, and there was a call in, and it's the only one I've ever had call in where this microbiologist he calls and he goes, oh my God, I found the nylon in all this stuff, and I put it in my mass spectrometer, it's nylon, and he said, wow, you're the only one I've heard talking about it. And they call it squid. I don't know if you've seen the undertakers where they pull squid out of the arteries. It's just, it's that, so yeah. Nylon.
That's
insane.
basically once it like coalesces, all those little nano things coalesce into that thing.
Yeah. Well, they actually grow. The whole nylon will grow. The way it's been bound to the particles, because it's got all the, it's got the graphene and everything else. So it starts growing as nylon, but also with the particles start growing through the whole body. And that's the problem, is people are becoming transhuman. And I think it was ruled that now human beings who have the DNA changed aren't human anymore. They're kind of transhuman or whatever. So you don't have the same rights as a human being. I think it's insane, It's really
You'll have more rights.
That if they need to grow nano stuff inside people, they're not going to hesitate to do it. They'll just be like, oh, we need this shit. Throw it in a bunch of people, and we'll grab it after they're dead.
Oh yeah, I mean it's actually a culling of the world's population. That's all I'm interested in. The whole thing was designed to.
Do you think it succeeded? I mean, was it any? Because we've always sort of argued back and forth whether it's successful or not. Because you can look at a bunch of different ways. I mean, they seem to make it effective enough to be effective, but not so effective to make everybody freak out about it. Well,
the problem is that people are just dropping dead with it. What happens is, just walk along, suddenly heart attack, you're gone.
But there's not enough. But there's not enough people to wake up the neighbors. Everybody's still kind of. There's enough not happening to keep everybody just with their heads down, and you know what I mean.
Well,
I feel like if it was 5 or 10% more, then everybody would know. It's like they really kind of. So I don't know if that's intentional or if they just messed up and they didn't expect it to be the way it turned out.
Well, there is another event which is interesting. I didn't mention this, but so you've got graphene tubes, yeah, and it's got CMOS. You know what CMOS is? Complementary metal oxide arrays in it, 10 to the minus 9 small. Transmit receive frequencies. Guess what? It's the 5G tower. So they can monitor your heart rate. They can monitor everything about your brainwave, everything else. The graphene oxide nanospheres. It's like having a big football, and they've got 92 loaded viruses of different types, like Marburg and whatever you want, Zoster. I've seen it. There was a bit of an issue with Zoster a lot, with my clients. Suddenly people getting shingles, and they've separated the chickenpox, the pox bit, cerebella from the Zoster, and somehow. And anyway, and 92 viruses, they're all triggered at a separate frequency, between 30 and 300 gigahertz. Now, don't forget, microwave oven runs at 2.4 gigahertz, I think it is. So this thing is really, high frequency, and they can, if they want to, if they want to release the Marburg virus suddenly, which actually destroys the cerebellum, it eats it away. You're going to get zombified people. So this is kind of a smoking gun that could be triggered on 5G. So who knows whether they'll do that? Now people are loaded with it. All they have to do is fire the frequency. So my advice, if you've taken these jabs, is please get them out. But it's up to you guys, and it's dangerous.
How will we know if that happens?
You'll start seeing people get really sick. I mean, if Marburg gets in the brain, you're going to be at an overload of people who are walking around, can't think straight because the cerebellum is starting to dissolve. The virus dissolves it really quick. So that's where the zombie type thing comes in, because, they literally can't do anything except walk around, So, yeah. It's mad.
It's too bad. It's too bad the FDA got rid of all their zombie war instructions on what to do during a zombie outbreak. I mean, do you remember all that was there, Darren? In 2021 and 2022? We were reading it all. It's no longer there anymore. It's like it's not fun. It's not fun anymore. So Do you want to just talk about angels and UFOs a little bit before we run out of time? Like, do you think that the angels? I've listened to a couple of your shows that you've been on before, and it seems like. Do you think that the angels then are ETs really? Like it's just one and the same thing, so it becomes kind of just kind of an overlap of phenomena that's not so easy to distinguish between religious and sci-fi type phenomena.
Yeah, I mean, to me, angel, archangel, I'll explain the difference between them, but angelic beings, I mean, to me, like the beings who are helping us are extraterrestrial beings. They're from Orion, wherever they're from. Arcturus, in the 7th or 12th dimension. So what beings are they? Well, you got the, Palladians, Arcturians, Lemurians, Atlantarians, Andromedans, Lyrans, all those sort of guys. They're all, the ones that help, and of course, are benevolent, and they want humanity to succeed. So, but the extraterrestrial, but what makes them angelic? Like, for example, Archangel Michael, he's an ancient Palladian. So what makes him angelic from the average Palladian? The answer is, first of all, to be angelic, you've got to have reached that place where you're in this place of unconditional love. You've got rid of your trauma. You're just pretty blissy and, like, wow. So that makes you angelic. What makes an archangel? Wisdom. So they've been around a lot longer. They've seen a lot more things and can help with a lot of wisdom, like, courage, protection. That's what Archangel Michael is about. Gabriel, from Sirius. Raphael from Andromeda. Again, ancient Andromedan, as opposed to just, another Andromedan might be angelic, but not Archangel, not angelic. So, and they're there to help us, a lot of people call on Archangel Michael more than any of them. And, he's there, he's available, and, he can actually come and really give you guidance. Very often people can feel him, but they can't see him. I can actually see him. So he actually turned up a couple of times in my life when I've needed him, just to give me confirmation. I've had Mother Mary turn up. Because when I was talking about Luciferians with the Vatican, how satanic it was, in 224, it was about August. They use a low frequency energy weapon on you, and they can actually hit your heart, and it melts the heart valves together, the flaps of the heart valve. So they did that to my aortic valve, and I got really sick real quick. So I went, and Mother Mary came to me and I said, well, can we heal this quick enough? She goes, no, you need an operation. So unfortunately, my heart's very big because it's because that the valve is bigger than the ones that go through the shoulder. So they said, well, we have to open it up and reduce the hole and mess about. So, great. So they cut us open and did that, in 2024. That's the 290th time they've tried to take me out. It's insane. But we're still here, I think, anyway. Yep. It's insane, honestly. People say, how do you manage it? We just get on with it. I'm here to help people. And of course, you get bumps.
So this whole, like, angels versus demons and ETs thing, like, in your opinion, it's a fair question in a lot of ways, right? It's when people see this phenomenon, it could be both at once.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're battling demons, all the time. I mean, that's why we have power of prayer, the maps of intent. We've got probably one of the most powerful prayers there is, which is, I call it the 27 esoteric Merkaba field prayer. And it's basically putting 27 esoteric Merkaba fields around you to protect you from any entities, fractals thereof, manipulations, and transmissional frequencies that are not for your highest good through all space-time continuum in every dimension. If you keep saying that 3 times a day, it keeps these entities out. Because the thing is think about healing. You do healing on somebody and you're not protecting them. So they're just there. You send them a bit of energy, whatever you're doing, and the energy subsides after 2-3 hours. These entities can reattach because they've still got enough trauma that their vibration is low. So to me, it's very important that you've got to protect them, or they've got to protect themselves whilst you're doing the healing, until you've got their vibration way up where their energy is way higher than them. So these low vibration entities can't even get anywhere near your field. Yeah. So it just takes some time, and people, of course, always want the red pill or whatever it is, and I don't know. So
do you is that the same way you would stop incubus succubus attacks, that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, same way. Yeah, that stops them all. that stops things latching on, because once if people don't know what a Merkaba, I've got a crystal Merkaba here. It's 9-point star, so it's 27 layers of energy. And what that'll do is, because it's high vibration, it'll just stop these things from getting through. If you say it like 3 times a day, morning, mid-afternoon, evening, it really helps, So,
Was there any difference between when you came over to America compared to England? Was there any sort of difference in the entity layout, or is one of those places? Is there any difference in them energetically?
Well, that's a good question. Like with the sacredness of the UK, Darren, you mean, kind of thing?
Well, they're both layered in a bunch of stuff. It seems like America got really fucked up during a cataclysm at some point. The UK's got years of sort of battle and blood over there, but so does America, as that plus a cataclysm maybe, but it also has this freedom aspect to it that is unique throughout human history. The
America actually is a lot lighter, a lot lighter. How do we know? Because the Masonic Lodge in Marble Arch, we talk about the 133 degrees Masonic, 34, 37 is Bohemian Grove, where they're the big bankers and everything else. And the center of it is in Marble Arch. That's why a lot of presidents and whatever go over to Marble Arch and they do a ritual to get an attachment on that person. And that's where it all stems from, in London. So to me, when I fly over to England, about 100 miles out, oh, wow, I can feel the energy from there. And as you get closer, and, what I do is just put 5 feet around me. Let's just focus on what I'm doing. I'm seeing the kids. I'm having a bit of fun, and we're getting out of here, But the energy in the UK is absolutely terrible. Last time I went back for a week, and I saw 6 kind of altercations. I went to the bank, someone was yelling and screaming, and okay. And then, I saw something in the street, and, people are so angsty at the moment there. It's tough, So I haven't been there for 5 years, and so hopefully we'll go back maybe this year, who knows. But, for me, I won't go on a plane because I know a lot about planes, and bits are falling off them in midair, that'd be the engine gone. Oops, there's the door fell off, and it's happening every other day. And you think, oh my God, what are they doing? But so I won't be going anywhere for a bit on a plane. I don't know about you guys, but yeah,
we got a lot of plane travel coming up.
Well, just pray before you go. So, bless your heart.
That's all you can do. I mean, it still seems to be safer than cars at this point, especially. I mean, I don't know about what it's like down there, but in Canada, we've got a real Russian roulette thing going on here, since we sort of brought our entire trucking force now has been imported and can't speak English or read the signs properly or understand how to drive in winter.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very true. Well, I think the level of driving has gone. Since people have taken these jabs, they're not concentrated. How about you guys? But, when I drive around here, even if it's my right away, we're on a main road as a side road, I'll slow down, because very often people just pull out and don't, they're not like, hello, is there anybody there? It's insane. I've never seen driving like it. But yeah.
It does seem to be getting worse, for sure. It seems to be maybe.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't forget, as this stuff grows through, it grows to the brain, it goes through everywhere. So if you don't do something about it, it's really going to affect your cognitive issues, give you cognitive issues. It's going to affect your heart, it's going to affect your liver, kidneys, everything, to the point where, you can get into real trouble. So, yeah. So, yeah. But at least we have a solution for it. So.
Is there anything we haven't gotten into yet from your work or the book that we need to touch on in the last 5 minutes?
Yeah. Well, if anyone, I mean, I do healings we work on all week. We do actually 2 healings by donation twice a week, which is Thursday night and Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time, and Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Time, because I always want to make sure, because when I went bankrupt, I had times without food, like 21 days, 15 days, whatever, quite a lot. And, it made me realize that what it's like to literally have no money, not even for food. So I always wanted to make sure that everyone deserves a healing. So we do an hour, twice a week, and make sure we cover a lot of things like tumors and, diabetes and osteoporosis and heart things. So, it covers a lot. So, if you want to join them, by donation. Of course, if you have no money, just please come on them because, we're here to help, So, but yeah, there's a lot going on in the world. And I think, I'd encourage people to take a step back from the matrix because, this I've used this planet as absolutely stunning. It's stunning, but the behavior on it's absolutely abysmal. So, and if you start at the behavior and just enjoy the planet itself, it's all going to manifest. I'm a great believer with the disclosure of the ETs. How it'll happen, I don't know, but certainly, I just hope this Project Bluebeam, which is creating solid holographic inserts. Is that a manipulation? Will they run it? Will the white hat stop it? Who knows? I don't know if I ever told. Well, I've probably not told you guys, but when I was American citizen, in 2017, before that, you had to go to immigration. Then you had to go for a medical. So I go to this medical. This doctor said, "I've got to ask you a few questions from Homeland Security. I've got to look in your eyes and see your response." So he's looking at me, and he said, "Have you ever been to a shopping mall and it didn't feel right? People weren't communicating properly, and it felt completely surreal." I knew exactly what I was talking about. I said, "Can you run that by me again?" I knew what he's talking about. He said, "Yeah, ever been to a shopping mall, and suddenly it's all different?" And I've done it, in Walmart. I remember I don't go to Walmart anymore because it's got the technology in, but Walmart have holographic insert technology. What does that mean? Well, they can change the whole store. So one day I walked in, the lighting was different, the colors were different. Looked on the right-hand side, and there was Subway there, and all the tables that were bolted down to the floor had disappeared. On the way in, I didn't think about it, and there's no trolleys, and this guy was just standing there, and I said, "There's no trolleys." There's no trolleys. Oh, okay. So I asked my beings, "Is this a holographic insert?" They go, "Yeah, get outside, take it out." So I walked outside, removed it, walked back in, and it was back to normal. That's what holographic insert is all about. And I've seen it. Another thing is I went to Tampa. So I was speaking at the Unity Church in St. Petersburg. So I went to Tampa, flew in, supposed to drive down to St. Petersburg. Didn't think anything of it. There's no traffic. It was 5 o'clock. And not one car around. What the heck? I don't understand this. Is this? Yeah, it's a holographic insert. Stupid me. I took it out and suddenly got around the corner and we were in traffic for like 40, 50 minutes. What I should have done is left it until I got to the until you get to the destination and then take it out, but it feels surreal. You just know that it's not right. People aren't communicating. The energy is different. Yeah.
So what did Buddy say to you when you asked him when he asked you that question and you answered? What did you answer?
Asked him a question
in the HHS interview.
Oh well, what I did is can you repeat again? And then he got a bit kind of crabby. Well, and you've been to a shopping. I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." He goes, "Well, clearly not." And he was kind of quite rude about it. Oh. So yeah, what they were doing is checking with the CIA and that. Have you got experience of holographic inserts? Of course, I didn't tell them.
Can you make your own of those? Can you weaponize that somehow?
Well, it's very high level technology, but they've got it, and Project Bluebeam, they can create holographic solid inserts, so like a craft that's like a solid insert, because these other things are just frequency. But, if you create a solid insert, then it's going to give people like, wow, this is a proper craft, when it's not. It's just manipulation. But, to take them out, it's just power maps of intent, you can take it out. And we've actually got one of the maps of intent on the website, how to take out a holographic insert. So if you go in somewhere and it feels surreal, people aren't communicating, they shut down, and it doesn't feel right, the chances are, always use your intuition, it's not right. So what you need to do is use that, map of intent to take it out, and it really works. Yeah, there's so many different things, it's unbelievable. So I became assistant in 2017.
Good. Congratulations.
But what was interesting is the last thing he asked me, the immigration officer, he goes, "Is there anything that can make you American?" He goes, "Come on, what is it?" And I said, "I can't give up afternoon tea." And he goes, "I don't think we're worried about that." It was really funny. But now there's so much involved with all this stuff. I mean, I don't know, you guys. Do you guys get around a lot and speak a lot? Or?
We don't speak a lot. I mean, Graham's done some speaking down in the States. I got to do some speaking in the States this summer. But we do try. We do run a tour company with people, like it's contact@thecabin.com. So we've been sort of all over. We got to go to Egypt. We're going to Easter Island in April. We're going to Malta next year, Serpent Mound. Been all over the States. I mean, it's been great. We've been able to travel enough to realize that, at least so far, America's the best. And I mean, I'm an Indian, so I'm a PR already. I can just sort of go back and forth and do what I want. But we actually registered our tour company in the States, so that, because once you have your company and pay taxes in the States with it for 6 years or something like that, it might only be 3 years even. It's either 3 years or 6 years. But once you do that, you get like put on a different list for getting your citizenship. So that would be on the hope that, if Graham ever has to, because we always have in the back of our heads in Canada that we might be in West Germany, and there could be a time when it's a better idea to East Germany. And it's a better idea to get over to West Germany as quickly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you never know what's going to happen. I think also the plates, the Madrid fault and all this, there's going to be some adjustment in the actual, land masses. That's evident. I mean, they keep warning. We've even got a sign out in Springfield, Missouri, where it says, we're on our 50-year cycle of the Madrid fault, so just be careful, be aware, So, I think they're expecting some big stuff to happen.
Definitely. It's something we get into all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, under the oceans, there's like over 1 million volcanoes. If they start erupting, then
Yeah.
and people can't see them. And, okay. So I think we're in for a bit of a ride. I think it's all positive, though. And nothing bothers me. There's one thing I've learned in life is that when you go bankrupt, when things happen and, it's really, really tough, when you come out, you have this inner strength, you take your power back and nothing matters. Life or death, the thing is, there is no death. You just go to an amazing place. I've experienced it. So why would you be like worried about getting off this planet? The place is not. But when you get to that, you really focus on the things that you really enjoy, knowing God's got your back. And when you get there, I've had people on podcasts saying, well, I said, well, how do you get a spiritual business so successful? And the answer is, it's surrender, it's gratitude, and knowing God's got your back and doing what you love. And this guy's, well, I don't agree because, I've got to go and I've got 5 kids, I've got to work, 3 jobs, But truly, if you really surrender, I'm living proof of it, because did I ever thought I'd get here? No, here we are. It's incredible. So when you really surrender and God's got your back and it's blissy, you're doing stuff for others, and you always have enough. You won't be a multi-billionaire, but you always have enough, and that's all you need, So and happiness, of course, as well, because you're doing what you love.
Yeah, good for you. That's awesome.
How many different guests we've had say that in sort of different ways. You'll figure it out, man. Before you're fucking sleeping homeless in the alley, you'll probably put something together, or get a new job or figure something out.
Well, when I went bankrupt, I was living out of a car for 4 years. Literally living on the street out the car. Sometimes people invite me, like they'd sponsor me and say, well, give me a healing. I'll get you, a room for the night at this hotel. I was sponsored to go to Belize. I was sponsored to go to India, all over the place. But there was a few times when I didn't learn that and I was like feeling sorry for myself. And of course, no food, I wouldn't ask people for it. And it made me realize when life turns around, you've always got enough. You've got to really look at that now if I get a plate of food, wow, thank you, God, for the blessing of this food. Beautiful, you know. So, yeah, it's changed my life completely.
Christopher Macklin, this has been great. Where can people get your books? Where can they find all your healing services, all that kind of stuff? Can they follow you on any social media? We'll put it on the show notes, of course, but lots of people don't get to the show notes, so we like to mention it here as well.
Yeah, if you go to globalenlightenmentproject.com, you know, it's got a lot of things on there. All the books are on there. I think I've written 6 books. Well, I'd help with the ghostwriter. I can't take all the credit for it. We do one-to-ones healings. We do specialized groups, up to 20 people. We talk to everyone and then do the healing after. We do the general groups, you know, twice a week, like 5 p.m. Central Time on Thursday and 11 a.m. Central Time on Saturday. We also do a monthly clearing as well, where I clear people every single night because of the tumultuous things that are happening now. If you have a clearing every single night at 6 p.m. Central Time, it really helps. It really helps people maintain a level, and it releases like 9 layers of emotion every single night. So we do that, you know, and and we do a lot of other things. We actually did the ceremony. We have a ceremony which is really interesting. It's free to join. The next one is 120 days, which is, I don't know, June sometime. So what we do is we do a ceremony, call out big tech, big pharma, call out all the cabal, we call out all the gates, we call out all the satanic people, you know, big tech, everything, and bring them before God for justice. And we had about a lot of people on last time. And, you know, it's really powerful. And, you know, people often say, well, we don't have the money like Zuckerbucks or Jeff Bezos. We don't have the money to do anything. You don't need money. It's worthless. What you need is the power of God behind you. And it's really helped. It's helped people be able to step up and be able to do something. The child trafficking people, bring them before God and release them to God with unconditional forgiveness. And then we reinstate it every day for the next 120 days. That's actually countering the satanic rituals. And it really helps. So, yeah, that's the next one will be about June, I think. So, yeah.
Good idea. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Perfect. We'll be down there in June too. We'll be in Ohio, I guess.
Oh, it's not far, actually, is it?
We're going to the Serpent Mound. So we're actually meeting up with some people we have that live in Missouri that are coming out to that. So,
Oh, brilliant. That's great.
yeah, absolutely. Christopher Macklin, this has been fantastic. We appreciate you taking some time
Thanks,
on your weekend.
Let's do it again if you're interested, bless you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think we could, I'll get in touch with your publicist, but I think we could do another show for other podcasts that is more controversial. We have like a members section and it gets into some of the stuff we just sort of touched on here that we could maybe expand on.
Absolutely. That'd be great. Oh, bless your hearts. Well, thanks for having me on.
Have a great day.
God bless. Thanks for having me on.
And that was our chat with Christopher Macklin, PhD, UFOs, paranormal, all that stuff. What'd you think?
Yeah, that was fun. That was good. Pretty interesting.
That was a fun. We'll have to do an outlawed where we get into all that, unpack that jab stuff a little bit more and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we were talking about all sorts of stuff while we were waiting for you about the UK and freedom and before we were on air. So he's right there with us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always interesting. Finding people in these communities that are still pushing back.
Yeah, more like-minded than you think is possible.
Yeah.
So, big thanks to Christopher for coming on the show. Big thanks to you guys for listening. Even bigger thanks if you're one of the few, choose to support the work over at grimerica.ca/support. If you are getting some value from the show, head over there. We're trying to get everyone to just sign up, even for $1 or $2, and it will make a huge difference. We've gotten some good results so far, so you can join that. You can just sign up for $12 for the whole year if you want to do it that way. $6 for the year, $1 a show, whatever you want to do. If you're on YouTube, you can sign up as a member there as well and support us that way. Pretty much wherever you're listening, you can probably sign up. And if you can't, go to grimerica.ca/support. Sign up for a monthly or make a one-time donation today. Keep the show around for another few years. Other than that, check out contact@thecabin.com if you want to come on one of them trips with us going to Easter Island in a couple of months. Adultbrain.ca. We have upgraded that over there, so I'm starting to populate it all with ebooks and PDFs, so members will get all the ebooks of all our stuff along with their subscription, the audiobooks. the PDFs, and then we'll give the members 25% off paperbacks as well. So check that out if you're into audiobooks and you don't love Audible. If you do love Audible, just search Adult Brain Publishing on Audible or Spotify, and you should find all our books there. And you can buy them or listen to them, whatever you got to do. GrayAmericaOutlawed.ca for the other podcast. Other than that, love you guys. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
Your mind's on fire, all the color red in a blue lagoon. In a storm in Bermuda, you've dive bombed into a seashell swoon. Maybe your easiest dreams make sweet perfume. While you're yawning, yet not breathing in a hospital room. Should I call for help? We are drowning in this ocean swell. Let's start from scratch. Quit living these lies and become unattached. The idea of some far-off future is the fuel for your worries. But for God's sakes, time is eternal. Please do not hurry. Please do not fret. Please act now in a way that doesn't lead to regret. Please stop smoking so many cigarettes so profusely.